Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this series and learning, having knowledge from here. So today we are going to look on CSS Combinators. So what are CSS Combinators? Why do we use it? So we will discuss everything about CSS Combinators in these tutorials. And believe me guys, it is very important but very easy topic. So as you can easily think of this word about CSS Combinator, you can think this word as it is a combination of something. So what is that something? So CSS totally based on selectors. Okay, so CSS Combinators means it's a combination of selectors that give us an opportunity to work more effectively and efficiently. And one more thing, that it saves your time to writing classes for each element that you want to style. So let me show you what I want to say. And actually this is the power of code. You can show others what you want to tell. So for this purpose, let's take some initial steps, and you know what I mean by those initial steps. So those initial steps are creating a folder for CSS Combinators. So we are discussing CSS Combinators here. Now I'm gonna open this with VS Code, and as you can see, it is my CSS Combinators file open. Folder is opened, and in this folder I will create an index.html file and make a boilerplate here with a link of CSS file and create a CSS file. So as you can see, I just created two files. With the first one is index.html and the second one is style.css. Now if I have a div with multiple paragraphs, like this is paragraph 1, I think so spelled wrong, okay, and this is paragraph 2, and I think so I should wrap it in another div. Wow, something look like this. So if you want to style all the paragraphs that are coming in this div, how you can do this? Actually I can also make some paragraph here. This is outer paragraphs. So this is my structure of HTML. Actually I want to show you it in my browser. So once I open it, as you can see, this is paragraph 1, this is paragraph 2, this is paragraph 2 again, this is outer paragraph, this is outer paragraph. Now the next thing that I want to show you is if I want to style the paragraphs that are coming, that are just inside, if I want to style these paragraphs that are the children of this div actually. So how can I do this? Not the outer paragraph. So the one way is you can give classes here, like classes of P and class P, and again class P, and then you just come here and target the .p class and then set a background, like so background color to something else like yellow green. Once you refresh it, you can see these are your paragraphs. But if I change some other paragraph, I create some more paragraphs here, and I want those paragraphs to also to style. How can I do this? Like so. Now these are also the inner paragraphs, but I want to style those paragraphs with the classes. So how can I do this? So I think so here we should use a combinator known as Descendant Combinator. So for this purpose, let me remove all the classes from here to show you. Now if I just refresh it, nothing is changed, as just the background is removed. And once I come here and select my div here, and inside a div I want to target all the paragraphs, and then I want to set a background color of yellow green. Once you refresh it, you can see all the paragraphs are automatically styling. This is the power of combinators. You don't have to give classes to each element. So this thing that I want to tell you, that if you have, there are 100 paragraphs, and how you can do this, like you will maybe give 100 times class to each element. Maybe you have a great will for me, but I don't have that kind of will, so I can give each of every element with a class. So the best way that I trust is use a CSS Combinator. So this is the first CSS Combinator, that I just use a div and p, and the space that are combining those two selectors is a combinator. And this selector or this combinator is known as Descendant Combinators. So there are many types of combinators, and inshallah today we will cover each and every combinator of CSS. So let me introduce all the types of CSS combinators. There are 4 different combinators in CSS. The first one is Descendant Selector, that we just covered, and the Descendant Selector is actually, this is the space that is combining two selectors, div and p. So this is known as Descendant Selector. Now the next selector is Child Selector, and we will cover this Child Selector. And the another type is Adjacent Sibling Selector and General Sibling Selector. So we'll cover everything about those 4 selectors. So we just covered the first one, Descendant Selector. Now the next one is known as Child Selector. And what will the Child Selector do? Let me show you, and let me make you think a little bit. So as you can see, this is my, if I change it to section here, so it will be changed with this div, so it will make some difference between the browser will take some, make or compare it as a difference. So once you refresh it, nothing is changed because I used a Descendant Selectors. But once I use a plus here, a plus sign, so what will gonna happen? So it will only target the children's, the very children's, like this one. This is not a children. This is a, it have a parent element known as section. So I'm targeting div children's. So this is a div children, this is a div children, and these two are div children's. Once I refresh it, you can see, oh my god, I don't want to use this plus sign here. Actually I want to use this sign. Yeah, once you refresh, you can see the paragraph 2 is not, sorry, it should be paragraph section, so you can differentiate easily. So the paragraph section is not styled anymore because this is a section, and this paragraph have the parent element already, so it can't take the styling. So this is known as div p. This thing is known as simple child selector. Okay, not simple child selector, actually it is known as child selector. So child selector actually selects all the elements that are the children of a specified element. But it looks like descendant selector, but it have a little change than descendant selector, that it will select all the children except those children that have their own parents. So this is the thing that I want to show you. So another thing is the next combinator. This is the second combinator. So the third combinator we used is plus sign. So what is the meaning of plus sign? This is known as adjacent sibling selectors. What are siblings actually? So this div have a sibling, this p, okay, and so this is the thing. This div have the sibling, this p, but if I just move away this p from here to here, now this div don't have this p have a sibling this div, but this div do not have the ability to make this paragraph as a sibling. That thing that I want to tell you, it's a little bit confusing for now, but if we look at if we do some practical, you can understood it easily. So this is a div, and the div have sibling selector, this paragraph. So once you refresh it, you can see this paragraph is only targeting. The next paragraph is not a sibling. So why it is reacting in this behavior in this manner? Because the adjacent selector is used to select an element that is directly after another specific element. So it is this paragraph is coming directly after this div is closing. So the sibling elements must have the same parent element, and adjacent means immediately following. So this is immediately following, this paragraph is immediately following to this div. So this is the thing that I want to tell you, so you can understood it easily. So as you can see, only this div is targeting itself. Now once I just use some random numbers, so you can differentiate. Yeah, this is the paragraph that is targeting. So this is the third combinator, and mostly we use this combinator and the adjacent combinator. This combinator is a child combinator, this is the adjacent siblings combinator. So we don't use plus sign so much. We just use this selector, or you can say this combinator, and the space combinator. So let me just take it as it is, refresh it, and the next and the last combinator of CSS is general sibling selector. Now what is general sibling selector? The third one we just looked is adjacent sibling selector. Now the last one is general sibling selector. So the general sibling selector selects all the elements that are the siblings of a specified element. Now it's super duper easy, and you can easily understood it. If I remove something from here, and with a div, with a paragraph of this is inner p, and then something look like this and change it to this is outer v. So now these two are the general sibling selector. These two actually are the general sibling selector. This is not a sibling, and because it is not coming after this closing div, this is the thing. So if I just target the if I just want to target the general sibling selector, what kind of combinator we should use, or what kind of symbol here will come. So I will show you. This is the symbol. I don't know what is the name of this symbol. So this is a symbol that is used for general sibling selector. Once you refresh it, you can see the outer both paragraphs are selecting, the outer both siblings are selected. But if you use here plus sign, only the first outer paragraph, or only the first sibling will be selected there. So if I change it to this one with a paragraph, it will select both paragraphs, because the general sibling selector selects all the siblings of. If I just make so many paragraphs, and once I refresh it, you can see all the paragraphs is targeting itself. But if I remove this from this div with a plus sign, so it will select only this paragraph, not the all other paragraph. This is because it is known as adjacent sibling selector. So it will follow the immediate paragraph or immediate sibling. So once I refresh it, you can see this one is targeting, not the others are targeting. So if you remove it with this one, it will target other also. So these are the combinators that we used in some ways. So mostly I used in the adjacent sibling adjacent selector. So and this one we can also use. This is very important. So I mostly prefer the adjacent selector and the child combinator. So this is the video on CSS Combinators. So you learned each and everything about CSS Combinators, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And today I am so much confused about how can I explain you these kind of weird concepts of CSS. So I hope you get bored a little. So thanks for watching this tutorial, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Thanks.